Good afternoon everyone, and today I'm basically hoping this tutorial will help teach you how to very simply add movement to a 2D character in Unity. Now with everything in coding and game development, there are 100 ways to do the same thing, with some being more efficient than others. I'm going to guide you step by step through what I believe to be the simplest way, and it only takes a few minutes to set up and run. Let's go. As soon as you start a new project in Unity, this is the screen you are going to see. Now I'm using 2019 to show this, and I've set it up as I like it. So I've got my hierarchy view, the scene view, the inspector view, the project view, and the game view. It doesn't matter how you actually have them all laid out, it's more about personal preference with this. Firstly, we are going to right click on the project view, of which then a little screen will pop up, and we're then going to click on import new asset. Then we are going to navigate to the texture we want, so I've chosen mine, and then we're just going to click on import. This next step won't apply to everyone, but because I'm using pixel graphics, I'm just going to edit the imported image a little bit so it appears more crisper. What I'm going to do is change the pixels per unit to 32, and then I'm also going to change compression to none, and then change filter mode to by point. This makes the pixel, the image itself, look a lot nicer and sharper. Obviously, you then click apply to apply the new settings. With the texture now imported, you are going to want to then right click on the hierarchy and then go to 2D objects and click on sprite. This will create a new sprite game object. What a sprite game object is just a simple empty game object that's got a nice transform component on it, which allows us to move and manipulate the position of it, and it also comes with a sprite renderer component. The sprite renderer component allows us to give it an image as well as change its colour and a various variety of other things. In this component you can see there's an empty place for a sprite, so what we're going to do is just drag our texture we've imported into that spot, and you'll notice that the sprite pops up. If you move it around, you'll see the image also follows it. If we click play now, you'll notice that when it loads up, the sprite doesn't move around when we press the keys. That's because we've not yet added in a way for it to. Now that it's actually got an image, what you're going to do next is click on it so it appears in the inspector view. I'm just going to rename mine to player. It's up to you whether you want to. And then you're going to go to the bottom, click on add component, and then scroll down to physics 2D. And then you need to click on rigid body 2D to add that. Make sure it's definitely the 2D version you have added. When you click play, you'll find that your sprite, your little player object, he'll just instantly fall down to the ground. And that's not what you want at all. This is because if we unplay now and we go to the rigid body component, we can see that the gravity scale is 1. So you're just going to change that to 0. With it being 0, the sprite is no longer affected by gravity, so it doesn't fall. And that's what the rigid body component is really. It sorts out how physics interacts with your game object. So next we're going to do is go back to the projects view, right click once again and have the thing pop up. This time I'm going to click on create and then click on C# script. That will cause one to appear in your object, so just rename it to whatever you want. I'm calling mine movement, and these basically hold bits of code which cause objects in the program to run. If you click on it, you can currently see what it contains, which at the moment is not much at all. So we're going to double click it, and this should open up and load up one of the Visual Studio programs you have. You need to make sure you have one of these so you can edit the code. I'm not sure, but I have heard that the latest versions of Unity, i.e. the 2020 versions, already contain Visual Studio downloaded into it, so that saves you from downloading it yourself. When the bit of code, also known as script, loads up, this is what you will see. It's split into certain sections. These 3 lines at the top tell the script basically what functions we might be using. They allow us to actually write these scripts, so these are really important. You need to keep these. Then you've got this public class movement and mono behavior, and anything between these 2 little squiggly lines will be run by the program. Inside of that you've got void start and void update. With void start, anything inside of those 2 little squiggly bits will instantly be run as soon as the script is called, i.e. the object spawned in, and anything in update will run every single frame. Firstly, we're going to create a variable called public float speed. Now since it's public, that means we could actually manipulate this within Unity once the script has been added. This will be used to control how fast the object moves. Then you're going to want to create a public rigid body 2D variable, of which I am just calling RB. This will be used to hold the rigid body component of the object. With all variables you can call them whatever you want, as long as you keep it consistent throughout the script. To start with, I'm going to remove the void start bit as it is not needed. If you wanted to be more efficient, you could keep it in and even use it to automatically detect the rigid body components, but I'm going to leave that out for now. Then inside update, you're going to write float horizontal equals input.getAxisRaw then some brackets, and inside of those brackets have some quotation marks with the word horizontal in it. Make sure horizontal has a capital H and is spelt correctly, as it's important. What this line is, it creates a new float variable called horizontal, and it assigns that value to whatever is inputted into the horizontal axis. I'll explain more about that later. You're then going to write the same line again underneath, but this time instead of having the words horizontal, you're going to put vertical. This will be used to determine the vertical axis of which you want your object to be travelling, and the other one is used for horizontal. As stated earlier, I will show why this works using inputs.getAxisRaw and then horizontal and vertical. It will make sense, don't worry. Finally, we're going to write rb.velocity, which shows the program we want to change the velocity of the rigid body and the game object it's attached to. Then, because overall velocity is determined by how fast horizontally and how fast vertically the object is going, in brackets we are going to want to write horizontal times speed and then comma vertical times speed. The comma separates the movement on the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. At the moment there is an evil red squiggly underline bit, meaning technically it's incorrect. Now this is because velocity as a function cannot understand this, so we need to change it into something it can do by right before it we put new vector2. This converts the information we've wrote into something the velocity function can understand and then use. Because we've put all this in the update bit, it means that this bit of code will be run every single frame, so it will be continuously looking for a new velocity. That concludes everything we need to do scripting wise, so if you would like to save it and then return back to the Unity project and we'll see if it works. Back in Unity, if you want to click on the script right now, and you'll see at the side all the code we just wrote it does show up at the side, so the script does contain it. That also means that we've made no errors, which is always a good thing. Then, if you would like to click on your sprite, scroll down in the inspector to add new component, click on scripts, and then add the movement script. You will see it has popped up and includes the two variables which we made public inside of it. For the purpose of just testing, I'm going to set the speed to 3, and then I'm going to go up to the rigid body 2D component and drag it into the space of RB inside of our script. Once that's done, go ahead and click play, and you'll be able to find that using the WASD keys and the arrow keys, you are able to move your sprite around. If you want as well, whilst it's playing, you can go to the movement script on it and change the speed to increase how fast it moves around. When you come out of play mode, you will find it is reverted to 3, as that is what you entered in beforehand. So there you go, that's how you can do really simple movement in Unity using the WASD and the arrow keys, and you can play around with that as much as you want, make him move faster, make him, I don't know, put gravity on, see how it does. It's always fun to mess around. But as to why it worked, I'm going to go through that now, and it's only going to take like a minute. It doesn't take long at all. Once you know about these things, it's just like, oh, I get it now, that makes sense. Back in Unity, if you want to click on Edit and go to Project Settings, you'll get this screen popping up, and one of the options in it is to go to the Inputs Manager. So just click on this. On this screen, you can see a variety of different inputs of which you can modify and mess around with, including the horizontal and vertical ones. So if we click on horizontal right now, what appears is a bunch of options, including a negative button, positive button, an alternative negative button, and alternative positive button, which has nicely been set to left, right, and A and D. These buttons right here change the values of this axis manager, so if you say I want to affect the horizontal axis, the input manager knows to look for these buttons. The same is to be said for the vertical. And that's that. Every time you put input.getAxisRaw, it will look to see if you're pressing one of the buttons, which correlates to one of these many inputs. So I hope that's cleared things up. If you want, you can simply change it so the axes are affected by different buttons. It's that simple. And that concludes the tutorial, so I really hope it helps you out and you're able to, by the end of this, I hope you can easily move around whatever you want. I hope if you have any questions, please just ask away, because I know Unity, it seems simple and it can be really simple, there's a lot to it, there's a lot of little bits, but if you have any questions, I'll happily answer them and help you provide. In the background at the moment, I'm doing a little plug for myself, so this is a trailer for a game I've recently made and should be coming out soon, so if you want to show any support, please check it out at some point, it's going to be coming out on Steam. And if you don't care about that, that's fine. As long as the tutorial helped, that's all that matters. I hope you have a wonderful day, and if you have any questions, ask away. If you enjoyed the video, maybe leave it a like, subscribe for some usual YouTube plug, all that stuff, blah blah blah. As long as the tutorial helped, that's all I care about. Anyway, have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you next time. See you later. Bye.